Hi there, greetings and salutations. My name is Jake Quarry. That is Derek Schultz, and we both actually are probably going to have erect nipples through the majority of this program because it's freezing inside the studio.
Chilly. It's chilly outside as well.
No, not like this.
Unseasonably
it's 54 degrees in here.
On this Monday.
What, are you hanging meat in here?
Yeah, I like it. I'll be honest. When we get into those summer months and it's like, the high's 91 today, that's not fun. I'd much rather have mid-50s, high of 70. I would happily take that.
This past weekend, in particular Saturday afternoon and then Sunday afternoon. Was it Sunday? No. Yeah, Saturday afternoon. It was perfect weather. Literally perfect. It was like 77 degrees, no humidity, little breeze.
Yeah.
It's like room temperature outside.
We had a great week last week.
Perfect.
Weather-wise. And we've had a nice...
And we need the rain, I get it.
And a nice start to, I guess it's not technically summer yet, but a nice start to the summer months, I guess, with June here.
Again, that is Derek Schultz. My name is Jake Quarry, and this is the incredibly creatively and appropriately named Quarry and Schultz program on ISC Sports Network, brought to you by the good folks at Bailey and Wood. And, by the way, we are inside the Lou Malnati's studio. Lou Malnati's the best when it comes to Chicago-style pizza, traditional
pies.
pizza as well. We'll talk about
traditional pies
a little bit upcoming, but we appreciate their support of the program.
Mm-hmm.
They're pizzas, Derek.
Pizza pie. Yum.
You're going to confuse people with Poppin' Fresh.
Poppin', like Pop-Tarts?
No, Poppin' Fresh. It was a pie place, or like Perkins, known for their pies. You don't want to...
Well... Perkins is known for something else.
Well, you talking about Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
Well,
is Perkins still around? Did they ever recover from that brand? Why? I would have leaned into it. You'd have leaned into
the pie?
Well,
apparently he did.
I would have leaned into the whole scandal. There's got to be like a marketing play for Perkins there with the Tiger situation.
Just because Tiger Woods hooked up with a Perkins waitress?
Good enough for Tiger. Good enough for you at the rest stop. I don't know. Like, give me a couple of minutes and I will think of something. I have a marketing kind of PR brain. I'm very gifted in that area, and I will think of something that they should have done in 5 minutes.
Take a swing at our pies?
No, see, you don't have that type of brain.
Always on par?
Let me simmer on it.
How about that? Perkins, always on par.
Let me simmer on it, and I will come back with something significantly better than always on par.
No, you think so, huh?
This is the time of year, and we're going to talk NBA Finals, right? Game 5 in progress as we speak right now. Look, regardless of what happens tonight, the Nuggets are going to win the NBA championship. So we're going to prepare for that on this show. But I actually thought, Jake, something that popped up last week, and I'm sure that you talked about this on your radio show with Kevin, that kind of underlines this, I don't even want to say ancillary story, because I think people have talked about it and they know that it's there. But this Jonathan Taylor contract extension situation, right? He's entering the final year of his deal. He's coming off a very difficult, injury-riddled 2022, which was a disappointing follow-up. A lot of things outside of his control for a tremendous breakthrough 2021, historic, really, in Colts franchise history, 2021 season. And the Vikings, the other day, just straight released Dalvin Cook. Just cut him. 4 straight 1,100-plus yard seasons, 4 straight Pro Bowls. There's an All-Pro or 2 that were mixed in there as well. And even though Cook is obviously older, he's 28 years old. Taylor is just 24. He would be 25 when the 2024 season starts. I think, again, it just kind of underlines that teams don't look at it the way fans or fantasy football players do. The Vikings just decided, look, this is a great player. We know he's a great player. He's been a great player. He's probably going to continue to be a great player. We just don't want to pay this guy 14, 15, I think he was making $17 million for production that we can get on a guy on a rookie deal. If I can get 950 yards from a guy on a rookie deal, why do I worry about getting 1,100 for a guy making 18 mil?
Right.
And I think that's the hard conversation that the Colts have to have here. Jonathan Taylor is a fan favorite. He's a fabulous player. He seems like a great guy. Like, no one is disputing any of those things, but it's a business. And at the end of the day, does the value you are getting, do you provide what that money gets you? And I just think it's not Jonathan Taylor. It's not a Jonathan Taylor thing. It's a running back thing. It's just hard to squeeze the value out of that position to justify what it takes to extend these star running backs.
Okay, a couple of things here, Derek. First off, I hate saying "I told you so."
Partially love saying that.
No, I just get tired of saying it. Right?
You love it.
I hate saying I was right. But I recall probably 2 years ago, maybe 3, saying either on this show or on Twitter or on the radio or whatever, that I wondered if the Colts would not eventually use Jonathan Taylor as a piece to parlay into better pieces. And I got absolutely killed. Literally, I've had some bad takes before. I don't think this was one of them. But I've had takes where people come piling on me. I've never had one that 100% was people saying, you are absolutely wrong. And that was one of them. 100% of the people that responded to me were like, you're absolutely wrong. Jonathan Taylor, Hall of Fame player, going to play his whole career as a Colt. And now here we are 2 years later, and people are like, should they trade Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah.
Who was the visionary? Who was so clairvoyant, as always, to see this coming down the pike? And the reason why I was able to do that, Derek, is because I do have, and I probably dwell on it too much, but I do have a memory of history. And if you look at the Indianapolis Colts when they drafted Peyton Manning, people forget this. I think 99% of Colts fans forget this. Peyton Manning had Marshall Faulk in his backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Faulk, who had 2 MVP seasons ahead of him, a Super Bowl ring ahead of him. And they traded him. And they traded him because Marshall Faulk, who was the most dynamic player, Marshall Faulk was coming off a Pro Bowl where he set back when the Pro Bowl meant something, where he set the record for most yards from a Pro Bowl. He was a 1,500-yard from scrimmage back in the backfield. Peyton Manning's a young player. Oh, my gosh, you've got this guy. And they traded him for what turned out to be Brad Scioli and Mike Peterson.
It was a 2 and a 5, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Second rounder, 5th rounder.
They traded him. And then they went and drafted a guy that 90% of people called Edgar and James because we never heard of him before. Yeah, the guy that had number 5 that rushed for like 200 yards against UCLA, okay. But they did it for 2 reasons. Number 1, because Bill Polian didn't believe in giving running backs a second contract. And number 2, because he wanted the prime of his running back to be coinciding with the prime of his quarterback. The Colts right now have a young quarterback, Anthony Richardson, that is probably a year away from getting complete handover of the keys. Maybe it's this year. That you play him with 1 year with Jonathan Taylor. It works out perfectly for them. You play him for a year with Jonathan Taylor to offset the pressure defensively and let Richardson get settled in. And then once Richardson now has his wherewithal as a quarterback, just in terms of what he's going to see defensively and has fewer voices in his head, do you trade Jonathan Taylor or you cut him or whatever and you draft a quarterback that is then going to be entering his prime at the same time as Anthony Richardson and is costing you 1/5 the price? Deja vu all over again. It's not that hard to figure out.
I think the middle ground here, I am against paying running backs even if it's Jonathan Taylor. But I think the middle ground here is that if you could somehow get him on a shorter deal that would pay him through
I would agree
age
with that.
27.
I would agree with that.
Okay, fine. I will do that. But I'm guessing Taylor's not going to want that.
The hard part with Jonathan Taylor, who to your point, Derek, is a fine player and has been, by all accounts, just a super nice guy and a great representative of the franchise. No doubt. There's not a single bad thing you can say about the guy except for this. The one bad thing you can say about Jonathan Taylor, who has been incredible. You look at his career at Wisconsin, you look at his career with the Colts, there's already a lot of mileage on those tires.
Yeah.
Right? And when those things start to go, they don't it's not like the brakes that like kind of squeak for a day and then a little bit more. They're screeching right away. And in Taylor's case, my fear would be that once the injuries start popping into place, which is inevitable at some point, that then you're going to have a serious drop-off. And so get out from underneath it now.
Yeah, and look, they're about to have the same sort of conversation here, a different position and a different set of circumstances with Michael Pittman Jr., and I think the difference between, the Taylor talk is more about, okay, running back is a fungible position, and it also is a low-impact position, comparatively speaking. Look, I know Taylor's been an impact player, but most of the time, running back doesn't have as much to do with winning as, let's say, quarterback, an elite edge rusher, an elite receiver. For Pittman, What I worry about is paying elite money to a guy that just isn't ever going to be elite.
I don't know that they'll pay him elite. I think Pittman's a pretty good player.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I need to know Pittman is going to reach several rungs higher than what he's reached so far. I need to know that. Now, people can say, well, I'm confident that he gets there. No, I need to know that he's going to get there. There's a big difference to me between the receivers like Pittman, who are very productive and very good, and the receivers that keep you up at night.
Well, here's the thing. Pittman is not a behind-the-defense guy. I think we know that now. But if you get a behind-the-defense guy to go along with him, whether that's Josh Downs, I don't know. They thought it was going to be Paris Campbell. Obviously, It's not. If you can get a behind-the-defense guy, T.Y. Hilton is prime level guy, then Pittman becomes an extremely dangerous weapon for you. But you probably get that player by not giving Pittman the money for both, if that makes sense.
I want to pay somebody that's just going to be great on his own. I can airdrop him onto any roster with any quarterback,
Derek,
and he can be elite.
Sure, but, how many of those guys are there?
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to force myself into saying, well, Pittman is our one because by default he's our one.
But everybody
I want
has
him to be a one.
Everybody not with Randy Moss on their team has a one that's, or you know what I mean? That's by default. Sure, Jamar Chase, great.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, great. Okay, there are like 5 of them in the league is what I'm getting at.
But if you don't think that he's going to get there, then you can't pay him like he's going to get there. That's my point. Because you could just draft a receiver that can come in and be productive right away. We see it happen all the time, where there are guys that get drafted.
You could also
and
trade
by year
for
two,
Darius Hayward-Bay.
Well, and
Andre Johnson, and you know what I mean? Like
veteran free agent receivers usually don't go as well.
Right.
But the guys that you draft, you
I
can come
think
in
Pittman,
and play and produce right away.
What is a Jamar Chase or a Stephon Diggs or Justin Jefferson? What are those guys going to command on a second contract?
20.
So you give Pittman 12 to 14, right? I'm not saying he takes it. That's what you offer him. Somebody out there. The problem is somebody out there will overpay for him. Fine, let him do it.
I'm always bad at contract projections, but I did read something last week that Taylor's average AAV would be like 13 or 14.
His what?
AAV.
What? AAV?
Yeah. Per year.
Isn't that the conference that like Cincinnati's in?
You're thinking of the American Athletic Conference.
AAV stands for what?
Average annual value. AAV.
How about his salary?
Well, no, salary is different from his AAV. Salary would be like what you would pay over the life of the contract. That'd be kind of your salary.
So what is what does this mean? What does this acronym mean?
Exactly what I just said. Average annual value, because it can change wildly. Like Jonathan Taylor's making $4 million this year. He made $2 million last year. So the AAV would be $3 million, what he's making right now.
So it's just his average salary. That's his average salary. Over 2 years, $4 million and $2 million. His average is $3 million.
Just don't fight me on this. I'm trying to help you. Like, you're the one that still has a morning radio show. You need to,
I don't want your help because you sound like
older.
I don't want your help because you sound like an idiot.
See, this is what happens to old people that age out in sports media.
Let me tell you what.
They get old and they get mad.
When I took a class in college, now granted it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago, old and mad.
One of the great pieces of advice I ever got was learn how to refine your questions. Now, I'm not saying that I've learned how to do that, but I try to learn how to refine my answers. Now, unless you have a 5,000-word essay that you have to write, your goal is to try to make a point in fewer words as to not confuse people. Average annual value, yada, 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 is a really long explanatory way of saying it's the average of his salary.
That's why I like saying AAV. It shortens it, keeps it more refined. That's actually a great word, Jake. So this aligns with what your professor said. AAV.
Okay. So Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman both are guys that you don't want to overpay for.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the length. Like, I'm not worried about 13, 14 million AAV, fine. Like, that's about what you're going to pay AAV-wise for a running back extension for a player of Taylor's stature. But what I'm worried about is the length of the years. AAV doesn't throw me as much in that conversation.
It's the same.
What?
A 5-year, $70 million contract. Your AAV is $14 million.
But I need to know how the contract is structured. That's why AAV is so important, because what's going to be the dead cap hit and what are the penalties if Taylor falls off a cliff and I straight release him in year 3 of his deal? What are we talking about there?
In year 3?
So are we front loading? Are we back loading the deal? I mean, there's a lot it's very intricate.
Whether the numbers are front or back loaded does not impact the average.
But I still want to know what that's going to be and then how that's structured.
What you need to say then, Derek, is it is your hope that if you are going to pay these players, that you do so with a backloaded contract, so that what you want is the money that is distributed the most is towards the end of the deal, so that if they don't live up to that before then, you can get out from underneath the majority of the money that is promised to them.
Or front, because then the cap penalty is less. But I still lean on other capologists to figure out how all that works. But yeah, like a 13, 14 mil AAV. I think that's about what you've got there. Let's get to our friends Lou Malnati's and who's cooking. They have 5 Indy area locations.
Not you is the answer.
The AAV of their Central Indiana locations is very high. Order.loumalnatis.com. Avon, Greenwood, Carmel, West 86, and our favorite, Midtown.
Broad Ripple, baby.
Midtown.
Ferguson, 6702 or 6207?
Only dine-in location.
Right up against the canal in Broad Ripple.
Indiana.
Perfect time of year. Full restaurant interior, full bar, draft beer, soft drinks, wide array of not only the Chicago-style pizza, but traditional pizza.
Delicious pies.
Games for the kids outdoors right there on the canal with the ducks. Love it. Love everything about it.
Also, we have our free delivery code right meow. QNS Friedel. QNS FREDEL 23.
So my understanding is, Derek, that we need people to start using that because they can track, and if not enough people use it, then we get fired.
Well, we crashed it, actually, is what happened. There were so many people that have been using it that they crashed.
No,
server.
Derek. It's up and running. It did not crash. It is very easy to use. QNS Friedel. Trust me, that's what you want to do. Please, we don't want to get fired. We've already been fired once, right?
We were, what was it, released from your duties? I'm trying to think of how Brett stated it when he brought me into his office.
The way he stated it was, Jake just called you and said that you got fired.
I kind of blacked
out.
Him.
I
kind of blacked out.
You did. Yeah. You had about a 3-day stretch there that was very ugly.
I went off that's the only time I've ever gone like off the grid. I was off the grid.
You went off the grid to everybody but me.
I was off the grid.
I eventually had to mute your number. I'm like, not again.
This is an incredible we very rarely go into high school athletics for our awards on this show, but our Lou Malnati's Who's Cooking this week. North Posey, which I just found out existed. It is in Poseyville, Indiana.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Evansville, that whole southwest corner of the state is a complete mystery to me. I don't know any of it. So Aaron Hoehn, I hope I'm saying her last name right.
How do you spell it, Derek?
Hoehn.
H-O what?
Hoehn. She's going to Michigan.
Hoehn.
So Michigan has gone down to Poseyville. They found her. She was in the 2A state title game. She throws a no-hitter. She strikes out 15 batters, and she hit a 3-run walk-off homer to win the game.
Pretty solid.
I mean, it's just incredible. And sometimes, when we talk about like James Banks at Ben Davis, sometimes you just have these high school athletes that they're so clearly the best player on the field.
That's very impressive.
It almost feels unfair. It's almost like they're playing a simulation and everybody else is playing a completely different game.
So what you're saying is at a young age she was able to hone her skills.
Yes, if that is indeed the pronunciation. Yes, hopefully. So
hopefully.
We'll see. I mean, what an NIL deal can provide, because I would think the AAV would be pretty high for her 4 years at Michigan. Like an NIL AAV.
What's the name of her hometown?
Poseyville.
Okay,
like
well,
400K maybe.
When
AAV?
you start using these acronyms that nobody knows, then you actually are coming from Poserville. Just so you know,
400, I'd say AAV. That would feel pretty good for me. Softball.
Posey County.
Oh, I have no idea if it's Posey County.
Well, if it's
Is that really what it's called? Yeah.
What is the county seat of Posey County?
I don't know. Castle. Wait, no, that's a high school. What else is in Evansville? What else is around there?
Well, Newburgh, but that's in.
What's
that's
the place
Posey
that has
County.
the chicken? Isn't there a fried chicken pot or like a old kettle pot or old kiln? Isn't there some restaurant that's down there that people like to go to? Actually, wait, I'm thinking southeast, I think, for fried chicken, like over towards Greensburg is the fried. There's a fried chicken trail. You know what I'm talking about in Indiana? You can go to all these like old school fried chicken places.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I don't like fried chicken.
But I'm
though.
thinking southeast. You don't like fried chicken?
Correct.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, I don't know.
How's that possible? Who doesn't like fried chicken?
Me.
Why?
Because first off, the only thing that's good about it is the skin.
Oh, the chicken itself can be really juicy and salty and delicious?
No.
Is it because you're worried about getting bulking up?
Fat?
Yeah. Is
I'm
it
already
because it's
fat.
unhealthy?
I'm already fat.
No, you're not. Is it because it's unhealthy? Is that
No, I
the
just
turn
don't
off
like
for
it.
you?
Just don't like it.
Okay. Well, I need to introduce you to some great fried chicken in this area.
Let's guess
I will
I
help
know
you.
Greg is in there chomping at the bit because he knows the county seat, but I'm just going to look it up. The county seat
Poseyville.
of Posey County.
Yeah.
Don't.
It's like when you
Ooh, Mount Vernon's a good guess.
really expand the tornado warning map on
Yeah.
one of the local news stations, and you're like, Poseyville? I mean, they're 2A, so they can't be like a one stoplight town.
I mean,
They gotta-
Poseyville's
yeah,
a good guess. The county seat is Mount Vernon.
Okay.
Okay. I just know Mount Vernon. I always got confused with Mount Vernon High School because there's a Mount Vernon up here as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought like Mount Vernon played like New Pal and stuff. They're not in Evansville.
There are two Mount Vernons, Derek.
They're playing Greenfield.
Joe Hall and what's happening, Todd, Mount Vernon grads.
Gotcha. It's really exploded over there.
They're the Marauders.
Yes, I was aware of that. Lou's also still
I'll
rallying
bet what's
support
happening, Todd and Joe Hall like fried chicken.
for their deep dish. Yes, I would venture a guess that they do. Their deep dish emoji, if you go to their socials at Lou Malnati's, you can learn more about the deep dish emoji, the quest for that with our friends at Lou Malnati's. Order.loumalnati's.com, QNS Friedel 23
You need to do that again.
for delivery.
Oh, I didn't realize. Do I need to shave?
Hope for the Pacers? Nuggets are on the verge of winning the title. Does that make you hopeful that eventually maybe the Pacers could actually win one of those? We'll discuss. We come back. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood Financial Group presents Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. Our friends at Bailey and Wood are the best in the business. They're actually building a marketing-specific structure. Mike Wood just shot a video of this where they're going to house, his daughter, Bailey and Bailey Wood. I want to say Bailey Wood. Bailey Wood of Bailey and Wood runs their promotions. And then they have a marketing team as well that does all this cool, video element stuff, and they put on all their events because Bailey and Wood does a ton of events, not just the annual golf outing, but a ton of events that they do in the community and charities and all of that. And they're building their own standalone structure for their marketing and communications team, which I think is really, really cool. But 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. So if you're looking to get pre-approval for a mortgage right now, go through our friends Mike Wood and Bailey and Wood Financial Group. Also, if you're looking to refi for some reason, I don't know, maybe
Refinance.
you bought last year or maybe you bought in recent months. I don't know where mortgage rates are right now, but I don't know if I think they're a little bit lower than what they
Topsy-turvy?
peaked at. Yeah, so if you wanted to refi, you could also do that from Bailey and
Could
Wood
you hand me
Financial
the tie,
Group.
by the way?
The tie?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Want to let people know that Derek needed to borrow a tie.
I do, yeah.
So I just said, and I have no idea if this is an expensive tie. It's a nice looking tie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine.
This was my tie.
It
And
smells
I
like
said,
cool water, but it's fine.
What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I don't wear cool water.
Okay.
Several colognes. That's not one of them. Derek needed to borrow a tie, and I said, no problem. I've actually got one of every color in the
Can you not
kaleidoscope.
tie it too tight because then I'll have to launder it again?
No, I'm
Okay,
I'm gonna
well,
see if I still know how to tie a tie. Do you know how to tie a tie?
Yes. Expertly.
I'm going to check out how well I can tie a tie.
Okay.
Sight unseen.
That's not bad because I usually need to do it in front of a mirror.
Oh, wait a minute.
Nope. Uh-oh. We were going good there. All right. There's a mulligan.
No, yeah, hold on.
Nope, you got it. What
No,
are you doing? Stuff it back in there.
I got lost there for a second. You continue
Okay.
as is. So
Well,
what I'll do, Derek, is
you're
I'll just
struggling
loosen
there.
this, and then that way you don't have to tie it.
Now, I can tie my own tie. I'm a 40-year-old man.
Okay.
It's actually really insulting.
This does not have a
think so.
clip.
Nuggets on the verge of their first
This is
ever
Nugget colors.
NBA championship. Game 5 in progress right now. So while you're watching this show, you're probably watching, maybe you're flipping back and forth the NBA Finals. Jokic has just been incredible. He's been incredible this entire postseason, but almost 31 points per game, 13.5 rebounds a game, 8 assists a game,
Screwed that
just
up.
in the finals.
It's unbelievable.
A steal a game, a block and a half per game, 55% shooting, 44% from three. Nuggets would be the 5th different champion in 5 years. Isn't that crazy?
I'm on my third attempt.
We just exited that stretch where it was like the Heat, the LeBron teams, and then the Warriors and the Spurs. And now we've had, in the last 5 years, starting with the Raptors in 19, Raptors, Lakers in the bubble year, Giannis and the Bucks in 21, Warriors, okay, fine, in 22, getting back to some normalcy, and then Nuggets in 23.
The thing that the Nuggets have done
That looks
that is
good.
impressive. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
bad,
that looks
right?
good.
Not bad for not having,
It's not bad.
Yeah. Here you go. Let me.
I like a fatter neck
Well then,
thing.
there you go.
Like a fatter one.
Here's what the Nuggets have done that gives hope to Indiana, to the Pacers. Okay. Who are the Nuggets' four most critical players? Five most critical players.
Let's see. In NBA history,
No.
Alex English,
Currently on
Dikembe
the roster.
Mutombo.
On their roster, you have Jamal Murray, who was the 7th overall pick and has panned out and hit big time. He's a really good player.
Did you ever think, by the way, that he would be this level of player? Like, I never.
I mean, he was.
I thought he was good.
Was he a one and done?
He was a 2 and done, I think, right?
I mean, he was a good player. I mean, you knew he was going to be a good player. This good, I don't know about that, but you knew he was going to be a good player,
Yeah.
right? You have Jamal Murray. So you hit on a top 10 pick. The Pacers are hoping that's Benedict Mathurin, right? You have Jokic, a second-round pick, international player that absolutely struck gold. The Pacers got a second-round pick, a Nembhard, that was a really good find. He's not obviously to this level, goes without saying. But they have, this year, a lot of picks. They're 28 and after. You got to hope one of those is that kind of a player.
How'd they
Then
get
Aaron Gordon.
How'd they get Aaron Gordon? I was going to ask.
That's the other thing.
Did they trade for him?
So there are 3 ways to build a roster. The first is to hit on lottery picks. They did it with Jamal Murray. The second, hit on second-round picks or international
lucky.
players.
Yeah, get lucky.
And they did that. The third is have a trade that works out in your favor. When the Denver Nuggets traded, amongst others, Gary Harris,
That's right. Okay.
and a number and a couple of pieces to Orlando for Aaron Gordon, there was a huge risk, partially because Aaron Gordon was a promising player in Orlando. He was a rising star in Orlando that had been in the dunk contest and was really coming into his own as an individual statistical player. But he goes from being the straw mixing the drink and the leading point per game scorer, or one of them in Orlando, to asking to be a complimentary piece in Denver. That's a huge ask of a guy, and he bought into it. And he's a really good piece for them, both defensively and on wing scoring. So there's your third. You get a trade that works out for you. And then you surround that with other pieces that worked out on Flyers. Michael Porter Jr., when he was at Missouri, had a back injury. Teams backed off of him.
Went like this in the draft.
Yeah, and the Nuggets were like, you know what? We're taking a fly here. So there are a lot of ways to build an NBA roster. And Denver probably a more desirable place than Indiana in terms of like free agency and those kinds of things. But in terms of market size, similar. In terms of interest level from fan base, similar. This is, in fact, the blueprint that gives hope to Indiana, especially when you look at the way that Indiana right now has the Pacers right now, Derek, are still they're walking through Costco and they have a couple of really nice things in their cart, but they still have a gift card with a lot of balance on it, and they're able to still shop.
And it shows you have to be patient too. I mean, this has been a
Of
slow
course.
build for the Nuggets. I mean, last year right now, this whole thing was a failure. They lost in the first round. Going into this year, it wasn't like people were like, watch out for the Nuggets. Yep, Nuggets, NBA champs this year. People weren't saying that. Now, the secret was out about Jokic, but people were like, they were always attaching Jokic is great, but, and now you obliterate the but. You evaporate the but in that situation.
The best tweet I've seen in a long time, and it just came from some guy with like 1,900 followers. It just said, Jokic, Greg Ostertag, but Larry Bird. Is that not the most perfect thing you've ever heard?
Yeah. I mean, he's like, and this is crazy because, pound for pound, Tim Duncan is probably one of like the 12 or 15 best players to ever play. But he's like a improved version of Tim Duncan. I mean that's kind of how I feel about him, where he just basically does everything well. Now, he's not the defender that Duncan was, but his passing ability, his shot selection, his ability to score, I mean, it's incredible. He's a much better scorer than Duncan was, and Duncan was a good scorer. So I'm happy for Denver. I always felt like there was I talked about this actually with Greg Rakestraw when I was filling in on Bob Level's show the other night. I think he had used this word, the ABA kinship. The Nuggets kind of came over on the boat with the Pacers, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I would say that anybody in Indianapolis has any emotional ties
the
40,
four,
50
right?
years later. Nuggets, Pacers, Nets, Spurs.
Correct.
But it is cool to see somebody else do it because to this point, the only team that has done it has been San Antonio.
Correct.
And in fact, Denver had never even reached the finals before this year. And I always felt like Denver was more of the NBA comp than Portland because Denver, kind of like the Pacers, they've had great players. They've very rarely, or if ever, had like a top 5 level NBA player. Like Alex English was a great player. Was Alex English ever a top 5 NBA? No. Mutombo? No. Carmelo? He might have gotten close to that.
Fat Lever?
Yeah, like those guys, and just like, I love Reggie Miller.
David Thompson was really good.
Reggie Miller was never one of the 5 best players in the league. Paul George, as a Pacer, was never one of the 5 best players in the league.
Right.
If you go back to the ABA days, that's a little bit different. But
which Nuggets color scheme / logo was your favorite?
I grew up with the rainbows, so I love that one the best. I did not like the Mellow era light blues, and I definitely didn't like the Nick Van Exel, Robert Pack 90s era, like just kind of the plain brown with the blue mountain.
That was Mutombo.
That would have been Mutombo later in his career. When Mutombo first came up, they were still wearing the rainbows.
What about the little mountain fella?
The Rocky, the Nugget Miner, the gold panner.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, he's fine. That was their ABA logo, right?
And carried into the first 4 years in the NBA.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. I just remember the Denver skyline, rainbow, fancy,
which
Denver
I think
letters,
is
it's iconic and great. But Jake, it's all about what you grew up with. Like if you talk to somebody that is
this little fella there, looks like Brent Terhune. Yeah.
If you talk to somebody that is 32 years old right now, they probably love the Utah Purple Mountains, Karl Malone, John Stockton uniforms. I think those are hideous, but that's what they grew up with watching the NBA. Right. So it's all about age and it's all relative.
You know who's rooting for the Denver Nuggets?
Who?
Who do you think?
Who's running from the Denver Nuggets? I don't know.
Who's rooting for the Denver Nuggets?
Oh, Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Don, right?
I think her dad's like, yeah. But she's rooting for the Denver Nuggets.
Well, I mean, he spent some formative years there, right?
So it's interesting.
And she grew up there.
So Shannon.
We're talking about Jake's longtime girlfriend / common law wife. For people that don't know, we just had Shannon on the show.
We just had our 18-year anniversary.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Still not legally binding, but that's
well,
great.
I told her our relationship now is old enough to vote, and it's actually been grounded twice. But
oh boy, yeah, I remember one of the groundings in the WNDE parking lot.
No, that's not true. So at any rate, Shannon, when her father coached with the South Carolina Gamecocks, And when she was 9, her father left South Carolina to take a job with the Denver Nuggets. So she moved to Denver in the 3rd grade, all the way through high school. She went to Columbine High School. And then her father got a job from the Nuggets to Indiana, so she moved to Indiana. Her 2 older brothers stayed in Denver and still live in Denver. And I don't think they have Nuggets season tickets, but they like the Nuggets. Yeah. And she said that her dad, I think her dad would tell you that he's happy for the Nuggets, but I don't know that he's actively rooting for or following the Nuggets.
And there can't be anybody left in the, I don't know about ownership maybe, but.
No, ownership
right?
is different.
Okay,
Everything's
yeah,
different.
so yeah, there's nobody left from that
Because
era.
When her dad was coaching in Denver, it was George Irvin and Larry Brown were on the staff, and they all got fired, and George Irvin ended up here, which is how her dad ended up here.
Gotcha.
And then ultimately Larry Brown came here. But anyway, I can tell that, to put a bow tie on the conversation, I can tell that she's happy for the Nuggets and excited for the people of Denver, and also optimistic that gives a glimmer of hope to the Pacers.
Good thing for Larry Brown is that every time there's an NBA Finals, he has an emotional connection, right? I mean, coach for every
How
NBA
many
team.
teams can you name that he's coached
Oh,
for?
God.
Over, under, or 5? Go.
Spurs.
Yep.
Knicks. Pistons. Sixers.
I can think of one you're missing.
Nuggets? Did he ever coach the Nuggets?
Nuggets, okay, yep.
Who am I missing?
You're missing
Nets?
a big one. Did he coach
No,
the Nets?
maybe not. Maybe not the Nets.
You're missing a big one.
He did coach the Nets? Okay.
He did?
Oh, Pacers.
Oh, yeah, Pacers.
Yeah, I
of
didn't
course.
mention Pacers. What are we up to, 7?
You're missing a big one because it's where he met his wife. He was buying a house, and he was buying a house in Los Angeles, and I believe the realtor was his future wife, and he said, like, I'll take the house, but only if you come with it.
Did he coach the Clippers? I don't know.
Correct.
Oh, really? Okay.
Correct.
See, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so when was the Nets?
I just remember a basketball card I feel like I had of him.
I don't
when he was
remember him coaching the Nets.
Okay, let me look this
81?
up and do it.
No,
right.
no recollection of that.
He
He went from UCLA to
he was
the Nets.
young.
He went from UCLA
Yes,
to the Nets.
Nets in the 80s and then to Kansas, and then Spurs, Clippers, Pacers, Sixers, Pistons.
Hold on. After the Pistons?
Yeah.
And it's not the Knicks.
Not the Knicks. This is after the Knicks. I don't remember this at all.
How long was he with this franchise?
5 minutes, like every other franchise.
How good are they?
They don't carry the same name as they did when he coached there.
Not Vancouver.
No.
Washington?
They're known for being terrible. I think they had the worst NBA season ever, single season win total. I think they won 9 games one year. That might have been when he was coaching.
Oh, wait a minute. Not Washington.
No.
And they've changed names?
Yes.
They changed cities?
No, just names. You're going to be really mad at yourself when I tell you what it is. Emeka Okafor was one of their draft picks.
Oh, yeah. The Bobcats.
Yeah, Charlotte Bobcats. Yeah, Adam Morrison.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So he coached there for, I don't know if he did let me see if he did like the 9-win season there. Let's see. No, he did not do the 9-win season. He was there for a season and then the first 28 games of the next
One
season.
of the great Donnie Walsh quotes of all time about Larry Brown. He is only happy when he's miserable.
Let's get to our Love That Play, brought to you by our friends at Love Heating and Cooling. Been around since 1920, 353-2141.
Did we already show the picture of the 50th birthday party?
Love-HVAC.com.
Last weekend. Happy birthday, Chris and John, once again.
We did do that already. This is really cool. A golf moment from yesterday. You know, I'm not a big golf
great.
guy. But Nick Taylor, who is a Canadian golfer, they're playing in the Canadian National Open. I don't know what they call it, Canadian RBC Open or something. He's in a playoff. He sinks a 72-foot eagle putt, which is incredible. It's like the putt of your life.
Right.
But this one is in a playoff hole to win your home country's championship. A great moment. The fans went ballistic.
Well,
He blacked out. He says he doesn't remember even what he did after that.
I don't
But
think he
it's
really
this
blacked out.
It's this great moment in Canadian sports history.
Well, you saw the other Canadian golfer that came spraying the champagne.
Yeah.
And the security guard.
I saw the security guard part. I don't know that part. He makes the putt. They celebrate.
Derek,
He goes
how do you
ballistic.
not know? Let me pull up the video then.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed.
Sorry,
Folks,
we
my
were
apologies.
reorganizing my garage yesterday, so I was kind of in and out on the sports stuff.
I'm just going to have you.
It's kind of in and out.
I'm going to have
Kind of
you
like when you're
just
telling me a
watch the
story.
video.
I'm getting bits and pieces, but I'm sort of in and out of the conversation because I'm thinking to myself, all right, when are we going to get there?
I can't remember the name of the fellow. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, this is good TV here.
Well,
Yeah, Adam Hadwin got tackled.
you honestly haven't seen this?
No.
Okay. I'm having to accept all cookies. Hang on, save, accept. Yes,
Yeah, just click should be a sideways triangle. That's a play button, and then
it's
You hit
spinning.
that.
Okay.
okay, now there's an ad. Yeah,
We got
yeah,
an
great.
ad first. I can't believe
Wonderful.
you haven't seen this.
Yes.
Like literally, like where were you yesterday? What'd you do?
I was cleaning out my garage.
How big a
what I was
garage?
doing yesterday.
How big is your garage?
We had a ton of
Was it
crap
the
in there.
IMS Museum.
We had a ton of crap
Okay.
in there. Oh, it's vertical? Ugh,
So Derek's watching the video now.
I can barely see it because somebody did vertical video. Okay. Oh, wait. All right, he got tackled. Yep. Oh, so
So that's one of the other
he
golfers.
was not invited on the course.
No, he was. It's one of the other
but
golfers.
He's wearing like a hoodie. These security guards.
The
don't
security
know,
guard.
right?
I mean, I'll give the security guard credit. He was doing his job,
Yeah.
but basically, the other golfer comes out with champagne to celebrate it and is
Yeah.
spraying it. Security sees it and comes around the corner. I mean, looks like LT.
Yeah.
And hones in and boom.
Maybe that should be on
Done.
Love That Play.
No, Christian John would be happy to know
Him
that
getting
there's a guy
put
singing a big
like that at the end. 353-2141 love-hvac.com for
Derek,
your heating
slower.
and cooling needs.
Love-hvac.com, 317-353-2141 for Love Heating and Air. My buddy John called me the other day and said, not John Love, different John, said, man, furnace is about to go kaput and the air conditioning is on the blitz. I realized it because it's getting warm outside. I was checking my air conditioner, realized both of them are like 30 years old. Boom. Love Heating and Air was out there the next morning. And I told him, I said, you're going to get the best service available, man, and 24-hour on-call maintenance. They've been around for over 100 years. They treat you like family. That's what we love about Love Heating and Air.
Love it.
There you go.
No pun intended. But I do love it. Chris and John are great guys. I was going through the garage, found an old box. I was like, what's in the box? Turns out my greatest athletic achievement ever was in the box, and I brought it in to show you. You never believed me.
The girl that beat you at wrestling's in a
that
box?
I was the 1991 St. Joseph High School Metro Area Summer Basketball Camp Knockout and Hotshot Champion, but I have definitive physical proof of that, and we'll bring it to you next on the show. It's Corey and Schultz,
very
ISC
exciting.
Sports Network, entertaining the masses.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.
Hi there. This is Query and Schultz on the ISC Sports Network. My name is Jake Query. Derek Schultz you don't see right now because he is apparently trying to find tangible evidence that at one time he had an athletic accomplishment.
Hell yeah, brother.
Since the beginning of time, he has been talking about how he was I should be able to say it by now by heart.
St. Joseph High School Metro Area Summer Basketball Camp Knockout and Hotshot Champion.
Okay. And this happened when?
June 28th,
Knockout is the game that
1991.
that's the game that I had to play during a Pacer timeout.
Yeah, that's
right?
the game that you didn't know somehow. You live in
Okay, let
Indiana,
me
you
see
don't know what knockout
let me see the ribbon first up. What we got
So here
here?
it is.
Okay, here's a
Nice
ribbon.
I couldn't find the second one, but those
Metro
are for
basketball.
Those are for
camp
both
first.
certificates.
It's just a ribbon.
And
We
then-
don't
Well, I had a picture with Coach Vito as well.
veto.
Yeah. Okay. Highly respected in Fairfield County as a basketball coach.
Certificate of award. This certifies that Derek Schultz Metropolitan Basketball Camp has been awarded this certificate for, and then someone else's handwriting, NCAA knockout champion.
Knockout champion.
What was
right.
the other thing you won?
I won Hot Shot. as well. Hot shot, knockout champ.
This certifies that Derek Schultz Metropolitan Basketball Camp has been awarded certificate for NCAA hot shot
First place.
runner-up.
It might have been a misprint on there. So I
Zoom in on
won
that.
the knockout and hot
Let me
shot
come around
championship.
there we go.
I have the ribbon to
What does
show.
it say
Here, let's
right-
put the ribbon right here to show with it. The ribbon. Let's put the
Runner-up.
ribbon
What does this
there.
mean?
The ribbon right there.
What, like
to show.
okay,
This is for both certificates,
who is
and I won.
Kendall Davis?
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. But
Well, you stole their ribbon.
somebody that finished behind me, probably?
No, it says right here, Kendall Davis.
It says, no, it doesn't.
It does. It
Give me
says
the camera.
Kendall Davis.
Give it-
Kendall Davis is probably
Fake
the winner.
news.
The
Derek
winner.
Schultz,
The runner-up.
first place.
Look
Of
at
this.
What does this say right here? What does it say? So you
So-
are not.
Okay, well, it's a misprint. I mean, what do you want me to do?
A misprint?
The hot shot runner up. Okay, so they misprinted it. Knockout and hot shot champion. That's what I was in 1991. So I just brought these in to prove that I have documentation of it. That's all. So I knew you'd try to shoot it down and be snooty about
I don't
it
have to shoot anything down.
instead of just accepting that I was a great basketball
Have you
player
not
when I
said
was
for
8 years
years
old.
the hot shot champion? What's it say
Hot
right
shot
there?
and knockout. Yep.
Runner up. Runner up right there.
Knockout.
Okay.
You're making me break things on the set. So this
This
is your fault.
offers nothing right
Okay.
here. This offers nothing.
Let's get to our quick hits here, since I knew this was a mistake. That Jake
So what we're saying is, Derek, that you are keeping, that you have kept right here, you have kept these sorts of classified records in boxes in your bathroom, right?
my mom did.
Okay, well,
Jake,
how presidential
look,
of you.
I could say this because she doesn't watch this show, and I love my mom. I know you love your mom too. In that box, there were like pieces of construction paper, and I'm opening them up, and it says like in marker like "Love you, mommy," and there's like a picture of a son or whatever, and on the back of it, it says June 2nd, 1988. Derek handed me this note when I was watching, I don't know, L.A. Law or something, Night Court. Like there was a box full of that stuff. It was kind of like, Mom, what do I do with this? Do I save the notes that I wrote you when I was 5? She had my second grade school project where I dressed up as a grizzly bear. Still kind of a grizzly bear. But I didn't have this to go with the costume back then when I was in second grade. But the claws and everything. Grizzly, like what do I do with construction paper? There we go. That's a grizzly bear. Can climb faster than he can run. Right there.
BEAR.
Look at that.
Okay? BEAR is the kind of bear I want, not this crap.
Grizzly bear. In the bear.
When did you turn this into your fans only page?
You mean OnlyFans?
Whatever the hell it's called. I don't know.
Are you this old? Let's get to our quick hits.
Gee,
Congratulations.
somebody seems overly familiar with the site.
Charity Griffith, national champion for Ball State. How about that? She is the national champion in the high jump. The 5th ever national championship for Ball State. They've never won a team national championship in school history.
See that?
5th
Watch
individual
this.
championship. Look at that. Yeah. Oh,
high
that didn't
jump.
work.
Yeah, I did.
And the first since 1999.
There you go.
Also, congrats to they had somebody finish 5th. Now I'm
said,
spacing on the
Derek,
name. I should have put in the notes.
Congrats to Tyrone Shelton, the friendly guy at the party, because he is a noted Ball State alum, former cheerleader, and super fan who follows them very actively in all of their different sports and kind of keeps, to be honest with you, the easy way to keep abreast of Ball State sports is to follow Tyrone, which is very cool.
Janelle Rogers finished 5th in the heptathlon. So, I mean, that's top 5
Very
in the
impressive.
country. Like,
Right.
that's crazy. So, congratulations to Ball State for both of those.
And you know what? I'll
a
bet
huge,
she
huge honor.
proudly has a certificate that says 5th and tells people 5th and doesn't lie and say winner.
5th is great. It's it ain't first, but 5th is really good.
Derek, I was a first-team all-Taylor University basketball camp honoree.
Yeah, but this is first the entire metro area, Fairfield County.
Again, I was a first-team
First
all-camp performer at Taylor University basketball camp.
There was a picture of me doing number 1.
Were you biting your lip like that, like you're constipated?
I'm not biting my lip. I was
You just did right there.
I was doing a number 1 while I was holding it up. Like that. J.J. Watt to join the Texans Ring of Honor. And I know what your first question was. The Texans have a Ring of Honor? Apparently they do.
What players are in the Texans Ring of
Yeah,
Honor?
that's what I couldn't find any. Like, is he the inaugural member?
No, there's got to be.
Andre
let's see.
Johnson?
He'd be in there. David Carr?
Just for a cautionary tale?
Sage Rosenfels? Who's the one quarter? Matt Schaub?
God. I mean, Matt Schaub in your Ring of
Arian
Honor?
Foster?
Arian Foster, okay. Yeah, like, we're getting a little bit warmer there.
Steve McKinney? Oh, Tony Baselli.
Let me see if they have any retired numbers.
Did Tony Baselli ever actually play for the Texans?
Retired numbers. Because I really do, in all seriousness, I want to know. They do not have a retired jersey number.
Well, who's the Ring of Honor?
Do you want to guess the teams that don't have retired numbers?
Okay.
There are only 5.
Okay. Is it because they don't have the history or just because they don't?
Texans and Ravens because they don't have the history. But there are 3 established franchises that do not retire numbers because they don't. One of them I knew. It's
Green
obvious.
Bay Packers?
No, but you're on the right track. Cowboys don't retire numbers.
Okay, yeah. Do the Steelers?
Apparently, yes. According to this.
Okay. The Niners?
Nope.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Raiders and Falcons. I think the Falcons would be like, Chris Chandler, hell yeah, get up in the rafters, man. Get up there.
I mean, who would the Falcons retire? Deion Sanders.
Okay, here's some others.
Byron Hanspart, Jamal Anderson.
Dwayne Brown. Mario Williams had a nice career.
He was a good player.
10 greatest. Aaron Glenn?
He's a good player.
Maybe. Aaron Glenn, would he be there? I don't know, man.
Did you find a list?
Of what?
The Ring of Honor.
I can't find it. I don't know who's in it.
Derek.
D'Amico Ryans. Oh, that's not a bad one.
This is the kind of prep work you should have done.
They have Matt Schaub as their second greatest player. So maybe Matt Schaub is in the Ring of Honor. But anyway, sorry. I didn't want to spend – this is supposed to be quick hits, so I didn't want to spend too much time on it. So I won't. Finally, number 3, and I know you agree with this, Jake. Lionel Messi, according to Neymar, said that a game changer for MLS. He is going to enter Miami, and everyone's really excited about it. Game changer for American soccer.
I hope this has the same seismic effect that Pele with the Cosmos and Beckham with the LA Galaxy has. It is a big deal because of what he turned down to come here.
Yeah,
for sure. And the Apple TV contract. Look, I do hope. Honestly, I hope it does. I would love for the MLS to become even. It's bigger than what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's growing for sure. I just saw that. What market did I see this in? Greg can help me out here. The market that just got an MLS expansion franchise or is believed to get one. Not Minneapolis. Obviously, Seattle already has one.
Cincinnati's been killing it.
San Diego. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
You know what San Diego supposedly paid as a fee?
Oh, isn't it like $500 million now?
$500 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that
like 10 years ago,
people
it was
that
like
think
$20
Indianapolis
million.
is getting an MLS team. I mean, there are 5 within a 6-hour radius of here, and a $500 million. No.
Yeah, that's.
But it'd be cool.
A lot of dough. It would be cool. Would definitely be cool. Also cool, Chateau Kitchens and our Biter Bull Bleep, and we'll come back with that to wrap up the show next. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. All right.
Okay, we have an update.
Hey, AC.
Nice snap.
Mortgages and a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Hey, AC.
Nice snap.
Mortgages and a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood presents Corey and Schultz. Final time here on the ISC Sports Network, episode 140. Thanks so much for joining us.
Is it really?
Yeah. Can you believe it? We've done 140 of these things. Well, we're rounding third on season 3 here because the new season starts in August.
Have you watched season 3 of Ted Lasso?
No, I haven't watched season 1 or 2 of Ted Lasso. You bring this up on every show. I have not seen it. You reach a certain level of subscriptions where you are subscriptioned out, and we are at that level, so we do not have Apple TV.
How about Netflix?
We have Netflix.
Have you watched the one about the girl in Westfield that was like the people thought she was like 10 and she was really like 25, and then now they think she might have actually been 10, and you're not seeing that?
No.
It's disturbing. It's sad.
Okay.
I shouldn't say this. I'm not going to say the name of any app, but a lot of times if you do the free trial for a month, you binge watch everything, you get it out of your system, and then you cancel.
Yeah, that does help. Do you really have to do that with your IndyCar money?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I saw your W-2 once. I know you don't need to. Chateau Kitchens, Biter Bowl Bleep. Our friends at Chateau Kitchens, they are done with phase 1 of the basement. So I got my stuff down there. We got our things down there.
Do you have a shelf with your toys on it?
No, because we haven't done the desk and wet bar portion yet. That's coming later in the fall. So we split it up into 2 because it's a big project. So they've done a great job, though. We're excited to be back down there and utilize that space. And they could do a great job for you, whether it's a basement, kitchen, bathroom, anything on the interior of your home with our friends at Chateau Kitchens. At Chateau Kitchens on Facebook and Instagram to see some of the before and after pictures as well. Here's what we do with Biter Bowl Bleep. I give a statement. Jake and I go back and forth whether we buy it or it's Bowl Bleep. Statement 1, this won't be the only championship the Nuggets win in this run. Buy it or Bowl Bleep?
I'm going to say it's Bull Schultz. Nothing against them. I think they got wonderful players, but it's tough. As we saw with Milwaukee. With Milwaukee, it was like, oh, man, here we go.
It
so
never happened.
I'm just going to go on the averages and say Bull Schultz.
I'm going to say Bowl Bleep too. It's just really difficult. And this was a year where, and this doesn't take away from Denver, you really didn't have like a great team, I don't think.
How many
right?
championships do you get before people get tired of you? 2?
I mean, I didn't get tired of the Warriors until the Durant season. And then I was like, okay, this isn't even fair anymore.
Right.
Like when they had Durant, I was like, all right, that's enough. But that was their third one, right? Because they had won or actually maybe that was their second one. Because they won in 15, and then the Cavs won in 16, and then they got Durant, and they won in 17 and 18, right? Okay, so I guess you're right, 2. I got sick of them after the second one. Statement 2, the Colts should extend their key pieces regardless of position.
No, total Bull Schultz. You gotta be smart. You can't just spend to spend. There are too many teams. Look at history. Historically speaking, the Washington Commanders when they were under a different name, the Bills at one time. Later with guys, you start overspending for nostalgia, you get in trouble.
Yeah, you can't extend everybody.
Right.
Bill Polian, remember how many hard decisions the Colts made on some of those players, especially at linebacker? Felt like it was always a linebacker.
You're right.
Like Cato June and Peterson.
And some of those guys, the linebackers, they were key pieces for the Colts. You went elsewhere, and then you found out it was kind of the system.
Yeah.
Mike Peterson was a good player. Marcus Washington was a good player, but they went elsewhere. Peterson maintained to be a good player. Washington was just kind of a guy.
Yeah,
Cato June was just a guy.
Yeah, he wasn't as good of a fit there. Yeah, I mean, it's a case-by-case basis, so I got to say Bowl Bleep on that. Final one. I know your answer to this. Golf fans have become increasingly annoying. Buy it or Bowl Bleep?
It's Bull Schultz.
No?
Yeah, there's no increasingly about it.
Oh, you're saying they're always annoying? Different types of annoying?
Bite or Bull Schultz, the Pacific Ocean has become increasingly more wet.
Okay, I like the emotion of it. I don't like mashed potatoes. I don't like that stuff. I don't like the drunk, obnoxious stuff.
Right.
But I like the fact that you can watch a golf event now and a moment can be met by the crowd. The crowd could just go bananas. You never saw that 30 years ago. Like Curtis Strange winning or whatever else. You never saw that. So I'll say Bowl Bleep. Kudos to golf fans. Kudos to Lou Malnati's and our title sponsor of the studio. Sorry about that. We'll get that in post. 3, 2, 1. Chateau Kitchens. I dropped it again.
Listen.
Bailey and Wood Financial
You got to
Group.
have good hands, Derek.
And Love Heating
Quick
and Cooling.
reflexes.
For Jordan Chu and Greg Rakestraw and Jay Query, I'm Derek Schultz. Bye. We'll see you next
Runner
time
up.
here on Query and Schultz. Champion, misprint.
Not a misprint.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, We prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.